Hello, this is Dr. Gary Samuelson, PhD in atomic medical physics. I wanted to give you a coronavirus 2019 update from the video that I posted a few weeks ago. We're now talking about the aftermath, which is a very good thing as we see the number of deaths decrease across the world. Looking at the other pandemics that have been around for many years, the coronavirus pandemic is nothing new in the form of deaths. We've seen, for example, in the H1N1 deaths, we've seen over 250,000 deaths in over 214 countries in the last 10 years, or 10 years ago. Where the coronavirus now is up to about 185,000 deaths. And only has about a 7%, according to these statistics that come from the worldometer.com. Only about a 7% death rate, which is lower than most of the other pandemics. However, we've seen COVID-19 spread very, very quickly. And also, we hopefully decline very, very quickly over a short period of time. So since we've known about it about March 14th, up until about April 4th or 5th, we saw a sharp incline, as we could expect. And then about April 10th, there was a peak, and now we're starting on the downhill side of the death rates per week in the United States, according to the CDC, as of April 20th. If you were to compare these then to the seasonal death rates of the influenza season, we see that even though the number of deaths so far, which is about 43,000 in the United States, is lower than, let's say, the 2017-2018 flu season, that the peak is much higher, meaning that we have many more deaths in a shorter period of time. The reason that this concerns us so much, or has concerned us, is because of the rapid spread of this coronavirus throughout the whole world. That we've seen that in many areas, especially populated areas, the medical systems are overtaxed. So we understand that COVID-19 is very highly contagious. We understand that many people may not even have symptoms. And then if they do have symptoms and complications, that the medical system is not equipped as of yet to take care of these large amounts of people that may be sick all at once. Almost everybody, probably because of the nature of this type of a virus, will have become exposed to it. And many of us may have even developed antibodies or immunity to the virus without even knowing it. Some interesting things that we've seen, though, is that this virus is a little bit different than normal upper respiratory viruses in that it causes thrombosis, or clotting in the small arteries and veins of the upper respiratory system, which can have an impact on the younger generation, but still there's very low impact in comparison on children and normal healthy people. We now have found that we can protect ourselves from this virus through simple means. We wash our hands. We keep our hands clean with a soap and moisturizer, hopefully, to keep our hands from chapping. We wear a mask and prevent touching our face, or it helps us. And then we can put these masks in steamers to sterilize them with boiling water, like this microwave steamer we see here. So simple measures can be used in order to be able to protect ourselves from a virus, which may be very helpful also in any upcoming pandemic. We also know and have proven that hypochlorous acid, which is a reactive oxygen species, very safe to the human body, is very effective against the coronavirus, perhaps 80 times higher than bleach. And even alcohol, which will strip away the skin surface, is much lower in efficacy than the hypochlorous acid and the reactive oxygen species. Again, this can be helpful because if we do indeed see a pandemic, upcoming pandemic, these are the things we can do to protect ourselves. Feeding our immune system, we cannot emphasize enough how important it is to give your immune system the supplies that they need. Would you send an army out against an enemy without guns, without supplies? How effective do you think that army could be? Well, if we do not then eat the type of supplies that our immune system requires in order to be able to fight, how do we expect then to win? The micronutrients found in greens and yellows and reds and purples are exactly what the immune system needs. Bitter herbs and greens are especially potent. Hot soups are very good too. They not only directly kill the viruses, but they also reduce inflammation and give us the nutrition that we need for our immune system. So these are still very, very good measures to start practicing now before we see another pandemic. Also, there are things that are particularly effective that we've seen also in the SARS-2 problems a few years back. Bitter herbs and supplements like Andrographis, Artemisia, Dandelion, B. propolis, they are also food for your immune system and are known to help. Again, Dr. Klinghart's video is very good information about these types of elements. And then if you happen to have been sick, or if you feel you may have been exposed but didn't have symptoms, it's a very good idea to get an antibody test now to show that you are immune to the virus. Not a good idea to go to the hospital or clinic yet. It is a good idea to rest and to continue to rest and get a good rest of at least 7.5 to 8 hours a day. And then help those that need assistance. This is a marker of the communities that have really been able to cut back this virus quickly. People of their own accord took on the responsibility to help those other people, to go out, to walk, to get plenty of sun, and to know that if you have been sick, that your immune system is perfectly capable of defeating this infection if it is strong and healthy. Also, we've found that water or hydration as normal been very helpful in this effort. Taking a little bit of sea salt with lemon and filtered water and putting it in a bottle and then drinking it throughout the day helps to keep our body fluids flowing, our fascia and lymphatic system, and all of the immune fighters that we have, that we keeps them mobile. So we should drink at least 2 to 4 quarts of this a day, depending on whether we're exercising or active or not. Other methods that I mentioned before have become a little bit controversial. Spraying down our veggies with a baking soda, not spraying them down. Spraying them down with hypochlorous acid or soaking them with baking soda, is a good way to disinfect our vegetables. It's also a good way to take out the toxins. I mentioned before that chloroquine phosphate, which can be dangerous if used incorrectly, requires a prescription from a medical doctor. In fact, the President of the United States now got into trouble by saying that hydroxychloroquine what might be effective against the virus. And under supervision, many have tried. However, these are prescription medications and should be taken then according to the instructions of your doctor. Getting sleep, eating vitamins, same sort of thing. Supplementing with vitamins or redox supplementation or hydrogen water is very helpful. Nanoparticles of silver also have shown to be very effective in helping to reduce viral loads. So what are we going to do now? The majority of us are already past the peak where we need to be worried or excessively worried about getting the virus, But we really can't wait for a vaccine. The most conservative estimates is that vaccine will be here in a year, or maybe even a little less than a year. And even if they are, they're not guaranteed to cause 100% immunity because the viruses mutate over time. And so new strains may not be effectively immunized against with our old vaccine. Also, understanding that our immune system is king. And some of the effects at times of vaccinations can actually reduce the effectiveness of our immune system. And then studies of vaccines with contravirus or against contravirus have shown also that it can be dangerous. One of the other dangers that I'm worried about, as many of us are, is the fracturing effects. During this period of time, we have seen a unity unknown to the world of people that are willing to sacrifice almost everything in order to be able to kill a virus that's harmful for us all. This type of unity is incredible, and we can feel it. However, I'm a little afraid that if we make vaccines mandatory in the future, we may also spark a fracturization, especially here in the United States, where personal freedoms are very important. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that our economic health is also very important. And we've paid a great price, especially business owners, for the effects that we've had. We've saved many lives. But there may be other options that we can consider. And here's just one of them. There are masks that are antiviral, completely antiviral. During a pandemic, we can wear these masks, and then we don't need to worry too much about social distancing or not going to work. These masks, at the very worst, may cost a little less than $1,000 in the US dollars. And then get an antibody testing regime that will help us to know when we are immune to the virus. Such things may cost us $85 billion in the United States. Seems like a lot, but when you consider what our economic stimulus is right now, we're in the many trillions, 5-6 trillion worth of economic aid in order to get back into economic recovery, causing income losses of maybe even $100,000 per person over many years. And we could see double-digit unemployment, which we haven't seen for many years. So we have choices. We can wear ugly, hot, sweaty masks, hopefully, which will become a little bit nicer looking, hopefully, as we go along. Or we can watch as everything that we've worked for 20 years is gone. I suggested that there are many different types of options that we can consider before we shut down our economy for longer periods of time. We still have the task of protecting those people which are at highest risk, our elderly people. And now, unfortunately, I believe that we're going to have to protect our young business owners and small business owners. We have saved lives. We have saved hundreds of thousands of lives by the measures that we have taken. However, billions of us are at risk because of economic decline, and the effects of such can be even more disastrous. So I think that we ought to look a little bit toward solutions as pandemics come along and may come along again. So what have we learned? We've learned to keep our hands and clothes clean, drink plenty of water. If you're feeling sick, stay home. We've learned to prepare ourselves, to prepare meals, to prepare food, to have storage of supplies that we need for longer periods of time. And then we've learned to help those around us that need assistance. And if we do that, then I know that we can be successful against any type of pandemic that comes along. And the price that we've paid will be worthwhile. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope this video is of some help to you. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you.